I was at the dentist getting a back molar drilled out the other day. As I smelled the scent of pulverized tooth dust with hints of flesh char in my own mouth, for some reason I started thinking about Dwarf Fortress. While the drill whirred in my mouth, I thought back to the summer and autumn of 2015. Those were some of the darkest moments of my life, and I got through them by devoting myself to something complicated and deep, through which I could occupy my entire mind. That something was Dwarf Fortress, which I originally learned to play with the express purpose of distracting myself with something overwhelmingly complex, so that the obtrusive thoughts about my depressing reality would have fewer opportunities to push through. Just as hard exercise or enduring dental work might be considered eudynia, examples of good or beneficial pain, some games and experiences also seem to fit this bill. Let's look at a few especially classic examples. If you've had any exposure to the Dwarf Fortress community, then you're familiar with the phrase, losing is fun. Just as Albert Camus famously posited that the existentialist must imagine Sisyphus happy, the Dwarf Fortress player must be prepared to lose everything, repeatedly, even constantly, and yet still persist. Where is the value of this? The value comes from experience. By this I mean both the joy of the journey while it lasted, as well as the more quantifiable knowledge of having seen something through under your own command. The lessons learned of having tried and failed. In Alan Carr's The Easy Way to Stop Smoking, he describes the pain and discomfort of refusing your favorite vices as, quote, what healing feels like, and he advises the recovering addict to meditate on the discomfort in this way. It's about patience and feeling the discomfort of growing in your control over yourself and your situation. In that way, it reminds me of Elden Ring. Patient and deliberate control as a long and seemingly endless journey stretches out ahead of you. This is what taking control and building that control feels like. Did I mention that I'm also looking for a job? Over 175 job applications have been sent out so far, with approximately 10% of these resulting in any kind of interested response. For each of those responses, I hustle hard and do my best to outcompete the other finalists for that role. So far, I've got nothing to show for it, but I don't give up, nor do I even particularly consider any of this to be wasted effort. It's because job hunting reminds me of fighting a bloodborne boss. The true challenge is the sheer time commitment. I've been telling myself that the job applications and interviews are just like grinding a FromSoft boss. You just have to tune out and patiently practice until luck and your skill lock in to deliver the win state result. And you only need one. It's been a great source of motivation whenever I encounter a two-hit game over style interview. And if you've played these games, you know. The boss hits you, staggers you, and then finishes you off, and because of a momentary tiny mistake, you're done. That's the way the world is sometimes. But if you keep faith, then you won't be defeated. There's no limit to how many times you get to retry a given scenario. Yes, that singular scenario may be gone, but you can always find a scenario like it. So for as long as you don't give up, your victory is guaranteed sooner or later. I suppose that my thesis here is simply that masochism can be a sublimation of fear, which in itself becomes a pleasurable experience for those to whom fear itself is so ultimately painful that any relief becomes pleasure. I am an anxious person, and so maybe that's why I think about these kind of things so much. But what is the pleasure, then, of masochism? Of exposing yourself to something painful and delighting in the fact that you've endured it? It is a sublimation of fear through experience, proving experimentally and anecdotally to yourself that man indeed suffers worse in his imagination than in real experience, as Seneca put it. This has been a little bit of an experiment. I'm trying to present my ideas in the form of video essays. If you enjoyed this, please support the video with a like or a comment, or maybe subscribing if you haven't. Thank you so much for listening. I will catch everyone in the next video.